Today's video is all about getting you going and making some delicious food with the least amount of barriers for you to get through. A full, comprehensive, no holds barred, full on, complete guide, the only guide you'll ever need to stir frying. Stir frying. It's fast, it's affordable, it's super tasty, and you don't even need a wok. The key to this video is the fact that I'm not necessarily giving you an exact recipe. All these ingredients are interchangeable. You can use pretty much any veg. You can use pretty much any meat. All you need is a solid, simple framework, and then the rest is easy. Let's go. I'm going to start by going through the 4 basic elements of stir fry. Number 1, you're going to need some protein. Usually that means something like beef, chicken, pork, lamb, fish. Of course, if you're vegetarian, you're going to go for things like tofu or jackfruit or something similar. Or even simpler still, you can just have a veggie stir fry. It works exactly the same. Next, you're going to need your veggies. The great thing about stir fry is you can use whatever's left in your fridge. It's a very economical form of cooking. Thirdly, you're going to need your aromatics, and what I mean by that are ingredients like garlic and ginger, which are the classic Chinese ingredient combination. You can also chuck in some chilies in there if you're feeling adventurous. And last but not least, there's the sauce component. Now, stir fries can come really saucy where it's swimming in sauce, or it can be just a light coating of sauce. The unique thing about stir frying is that the cooking element at the end is actually the easy bit. All the hard work is done in prep. When I say hard work, it's not a huge amount of work, nor is it really difficult. It's just understanding how everything works to make the stir fry come together. So I'm going to start with prepping the veggies. In my fridge today, I found a bell pepper, some long stem broccoli, half an onion, and some carrots. The way we prep the veg is quite important. With the broccoli, I'm going to cut them into bite-sized pieces. The pepper and the onion, I'm going to cut into quite chunky pieces. This way, they're going to hold their shape when stir-frying and won't just go to mush. We're not going to pre-boil or pre-steam the carrots, so I'm going to cut them into quite thin slices. This will ensure that when they're stir-fried, they'll cook relatively quickly. The protein I've got today is this quite cheap steak I got from Aldi. So whether this is beef, pork or chicken breast, all I'm going to do is tell you to slice it into thin bite-sized pieces so it cooks rapidly when we stir fry it. And the thing is with stir frying meat is because we slice it so thinly, a little goes a long way. For example, this steak is enough to feed myself, my wife and my 10-year-old son. You can make your own judgment call on how much meat you'll need for every dish you make. First thing I'm going to do is just cut off any of the sinew and fatty bits that we don't want. And now we're going to slice our steak up into really thin slices. It helps to use a sharp knife, like so, across the grain. See it ending up with strips like that, which is absolutely perfect. Okay, so it's going to cook quick, it's going to stay tender, and it's going to be delicious. Okay. This was already in my fridge, but if I was planning for a slightly more long-term view, I would buy myself the cheapest beef joint that I could, which ounce for ounce is a lot cheaper than any steak. And then I could just take off pieces of that for every time I'm making a stir fry. Now you may think that using a steak is one thing and you're bound to get quite tender pieces of meat. But if you're using a roasting joint, it might be quite tough. But there's a great way of tenderizing meat, which a lot of Chinese chefs use. I made a video about tenderizing meat, or velveting as we call it. I'll leave a link in the description below and then you can check it out later. Ginger and garlic are both very cheap and they keep for quite a long time, so it's always useful to have some in the kitchen somewhere. With the garlic, I'm just going to give it a bit of a splat and just roughly chop it. With the ginger, I'm going to cut it into slices. And now we're ready to make the sauce. The sauce I'm going to show you is a fantastic general sauce you can use for most stir fries. You can use it for veggies and meat dishes. It works amazing. It goes with so many different dishes, you cannot go wrong with it. So to a bowl, add 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 1 tablespoon of light soy sauce, half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of white pepper, half a teaspoon of sugar, about 4 or 5 tablespoons of cold water, and 2 teaspoons of corn flour or corn starch. And give it a stir. And the cornstarch and the corn flour will thicken the sauce instantly when it hits the heat. Now we've pre-made the sauce, this makes life so much easier. If the sauce is too thick or there's not enough of it, when you come to the stir fry, you can add just a little bit more freshly boiled water to bulk up the sauce. It won't take the heat in your pan down, it'll keep the temperature up. What we now have to do is create our wok clock. And a wok clock is ingenious but really simple. What you do is you get a plate and then you put the ingredients in the order that they're going to go into the pan. So this is our wok clock. So we're going to put the carrots in first, then followed by the peppers, closely followed by the onions, and finally the broccoli. And that order is because the carrot takes the longest to cook and the broccoli takes the least amount of time to cook, and the other two are in the middle. Now you've got your wok clock done. This is really going to help when you're in the heat of battle stir frying, because everything is ordered for you and it just makes life simple rather than you scrabbling around trying to find the right ingredient at the right time. By the way, I did not invent the wok clock. I got the idea from a guy called Jeremy Pang, who is an excellent Chinese chef and works for the School of Wok. So I definitely need to give Jeremy all the credit for this. It's a fantastic idea. You will have noticed that the meat is not on the wok clock. And that's for two reasons. A, you don't want to cross-contaminate meat with vegetables. And secondly, we're going to cook the meat separately. So we're actually going to sear off the beef first, cook it till it's about 3/4 done. Take it out, put it in a bowl, and then we're going to add it back into the stir fry a little later. So this is what all this prep has been leading to. You've got your wok clock ready. You've got your meat ready. You've got your sauce ready. You have your implement ready. Now you've done all the hard work. This bit you can focus on and it will be a breeze. The biggest mistake we can make now is to overload the pan. If you put too many ingredients into the pan, you're going to steam your ingredients rather than fry them. So what we need to do is keep that sizzle. That's what it's all about, keeping that sizzle. First thing is to get the flame on, get it hot. It will not leave the hottest setting. If you're using electric or induction, let the pan get hot. I'm going to add a little bit of oil. When you're using oil, use a high smoke point oil, like a standard vegetable oil, corn oil, peanut oil is great, coconut oil, avocado oil, all good. When we put the meat in, we're going to put it on one layer. Do not pile it up on itself. There you go, look. Okay, so we just put it in and spread it out. Okay, once it's spread out, leave it. Let it sear, let it start to brown off. Okay, get that nice caramelization. If you stir it too much at this stage, it's just going to go grey and look like it's been steamed. Okay, now we can give it a stir. Can you see? There you go. That's what you're looking for right there. Right there, that caramelization. Okay, we'll try to do that to as much of the meat as possible. Your job now is to put the raw sides down onto the pan to get that. Okay, don't panic, take your time. If you get some caramelization on every piece of meat, then you've done your job, that's fine. Right, that to me is done for now. I'm going to take that off the heat, put it down, add a little bit more oil, swirl that around, let it get hot again. That's hot again. Now we're going to start with our wok clock. That's sizzling, that's hot. So I'm going to put the carrots in. Okay, get them going. You would never blanch the carrots before you put them in a stir fry, because that would soften them to the point where you cook them further, they just break apart. Right. Okay, I feel we are far enough along with that. I'm going to add the peppers and the onion. And we're just going to put a bit of colour on this. And when I say a bit of colour, again, it's like some slight char marks on them. Just get them browned off a little bit. Okay, but again, we don't want to overcook anything. We just want to lightly stir fry over an intense heat. This is literally stir frying. I'm not moving the pan. If you're on induction and electric, you do not move the pan. I can, if I want to, do that a little bit. because I'm on gas. If you're on gas, you can do that. Yeah, absolutely. But not if you're on induction or electric. But the moment you take your pan off the stove, it immediately starts to cool down. Now I'm going to add my broccoli. And now I'm going to add my ginger and my garlic. Season with a little bit more salt and white pepper. Just a touch, not too much because the sauce is going to be quite salty too. And now we're going to reintroduce our beef. There we go. Look at that. Look how vibrant everything looks. And as you can see, we've got space in the pan, enough to let everything breathe and the temperature can stay hot. If you pile it up like that, then it's just going to steam. Okay, and then your results are going to be soggy, they're not going to be crisp, and you might as well just boil everything up in water. Now for the sauce, what I'm going to do, look, you need to give it a good stir so everything is amalgamated, everything is mixed in, and we're just going to pour it in, just like that, and stir it, stir it, stir it, stir it, stir it, stir it. Okay, I'm going to add instantly a little bit more water because I want it a little bit more saucy. There you go. If you add a little bit too much water, don't worry because it'll just evaporate off. Can you see that? Can you see the char on the peppers? You can see the colour on the beef. Everything is just going to be amazing. And guess what? We're done. That's it. Switch the heat off. How easy was that? All I'm going to do is plate it up. Right guys, moment of truth. Nice piece of beef. Tender. It's actually beefy and the sauce just wraps around it. It's really, really nice. Going for some veggies. That is so good. The pepper still got the bite. The broccoli still got the crunch. The sweetness of the veggies is coming through. And it goes with that sauce so nicely. That sauce is just the perfect blend of savouriness and a tiny hint of sweetness. It just kind of binds things all together. It's so nice. So if you guys have never stir-fried before, this is where your journey starts. It's not as scary or as daunting as you may have thought originally. As long as you organise yourself and then apply a few simple but effective techniques, you'll be fine. Folks, what do you think? Do you want me to continue with this beginner series? I can run you through so many different techniques of how to cook Chinese and stir-fry food. The list of things we can do is almost endless. Stick with me and you'll be cooking banquets in no time flat. Let me know and let's make it happen. Thanks for watching guys. See you soon. Take care. Bye.